Hey everyone, how are you? Felix Bravo here. I am your host of the Big Agent Meeting International. I'm the Vice President of International Growth here at eXp Realty, and this is our second ever Big Agent Meeting International. And today we have an awesome show for you guys. I have Adam Day, our International Expansion Leader for Europe, who is an absolute rock star. He also brought eXp to the UK and has built it out to be one of our largest countries outside of North America. So I'm super excited to bring him on. And then we have our amazing team leader, Jane Whitfield. She's also one of our icon agents in the UK. And I think you guys are going to get so much out of her story personally, as well as Adam's story. So without further ado, let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Adam Day, International Expansion Leader for Europe.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Adam, how are you?
Yeah, very good. I love that photo, that headline photo. That was taken at an eXp con on the headshots thing. And somebody touched up my my bags under my eyes, so it looks like I've got no. I look like 10 years younger on that photo. It's great. It's the best.
Yeah, we'll keep that headshot for everything else. But you look quite young yourself, Adam. But anyways, it's not like we don't talk all day every day, but it's awesome to have you here and to share our conversations with the rest of the audience. So Adam, you are now the expansion leader for all of Europe and India. Can you just tell, everyone knows you as the UK guy. Can you tell the audience, what does that mean? What is your role now? What are you doing on a day-to-day? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a big role. So that's been about 6 weeks now. So that was early September, I think, wasn't it? September 1, I think that was official. And we were discussing it for a few weeks before that. But while I was on holiday with the family in Italy, it was, I was kind of saying, well, what does the role entail, Felix? And you were kind of, telling me, and I was thinking, okay, this sounds pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, at the moment the role entails figuring out how every country works from a real estate point of view, because the UK is very different from France. We all know that France is very special, because Samuel told us last week on this very same show that it's a very special country, and it is. But every country is special, and everyone has their own ways of doing things, and some have a buyer side, some don't have a buyer side, others do promissory contracts when the sale is agreed, others don't, and there's different portals and how the portals charge, and open listings and exclusive listings, and do you know what? That's my biggest like mind at the moment, is the open versus closed it's just so unusual in the UK to have sort of open listings. But so I guess that's my first task, is really just figuring out how it works in every country, what operationally, how is real estate sold in those countries, and then really it's trying to work with the country leaders on how do we grow, how do we carry on growing, how do we grow a productive agent count. I'm all about helping agents to sell more real estate. That's all I care about, is how do we help agents sell more real estate, and how do we help agents give their clients the best experience possible by us taking away all the back end stuff. I often say that. So I had a business in 2006 called Hatched, and I know I talk about that a lot, but there was a guy called James who worked for me. He was my business partner, and this is not where you thought this was going to go, is it, Felix? I'm just going off on a tangent.
Yeah, go for it. Let's see how it goes. I'll cut you off if it gets a little weird. Don't worry.
So my business partner was a guy called James, and he dealt with all the portals and the licenses and the trademarks and the CRM and the websites going down, and like all the stuff that I didn't want to deal with. And I was front of house. I was the face of the business. I was going out lead genning. I was selling the houses, and I was doing all the fun stuff, right? But every business needs a James, and eXp is the agent's James. That's how I see eXp very much, is we do all the stuff in the background that just supports the agent, to allow the agent to just go off and take off and become the personality within their local market. And I think that's the same the world over. It certainly is in the UK, but I feel like that's how we should operate and do operate, to help agents to be as productive as possible. So again, that's a really long answer to a very simple question, but that's kind of how I frame it in my mind.
Yeah, now everyone who's watching this understands what it's like for me every day when I speak to them. And you go on a tangent. No, that's great. One of the reasons I joined eXp as an agent myself, we talk about agent-centric, being the most agent-centric business in the world. It's really our mission statement, but a lot of people don't understand what that really means. And it's a lot of what you just said. It's how can we provide a platform that carries as much of the burden and the difficulties of the day-to-day life of a realtor as much as possible to really provide them, or estate agent, sorry, to provide them with the best possible opportunity to succeed in this industry, and also to provide excellent service to their buyers and sellers. Because at the end of the day, we say it all the time, it's the most emotional and largest purchase that the average person makes in their lifetime. And so it's a really, really unique opportunity that we get. And that's really what drew me to eXp was the focus on that, on being agent centric and helping. But let's bring it back a little bit. You not as far back as 2006 and hatched, but you helped us open up in the UK, or you opened up eXp in the UK, and you were a country leader there. Talk us through what that was like day one, 0 agents. It's just you opening up in the UK, bringing eXp to where we're at now. Because in the UK, if I'm not mistaken, the last couple of months, I know you look at this 10 times a day, we were the #1 estate agency in the UK in terms of transactions. So that's such a fascinating and powerful story to me. How did that process work? How did it go for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there was, we were a test case for the rest of the world, really, of what it would look like in other countries. And I think the UK is probably the toughest market to come to for an American company, or for any real estate company. We've had French companies come over in the past, and they've never figured out the UK market because there's no buyer side. It's very low commission. It's 1% commission. It's a tough market to get your head around when you're outside of the UK. I think some of the stuff that we did in the early days, I had a long build up to announce it and plan the launch of it, if you like. So, I'm relatively well known in the industry, so I was kind of schmoozing a lot of the industry influences in the background and kind of saying, oh, there's something coming down the track, and I was being really nice to them because I knew that as soon as the news came out, people would be asking. They wouldn't be asking me; they'd be asking these other influencers, oh, what do you make of this eXp thing? And then they'd said, oh, well, I'm not really sure about that, but I know Adam Day's a really good guy. And so becoming the good guy was kind of really important. And then that launch on day one, the PR campaign, the launch of my videos on social media. So I spent, and if anyone's watching, they're interested in agent attraction, you've got to prepare for it. And I'd been building up my audience on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is our weapon of choice in the UK to build the business. But that it can be any social media platform. I'm sure Facebook, Insta would do the same. But you've got to build your audience. I've seen agents that have tried to do agent attraction the same way as I've done, 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. That isn't going to work. You've got to spend probably 6 to 8 months just to building your audience, building your connections. So I knew I was going to start in the April. I got the role in the April. We were going to launch, plan for 1st of September. So I had 4 or 5 months to build my connections. I went from 4,000 connections to 10,500 because every morning I'd wake up and go connect. That was my first thing I'd do at 7 a.m. was I'd connect with as many people as LinkedIn would let me connect with of real estate agents. And in amongst all of that, I spent 4 months filming videos. So I did 40 videos, about 39 videos, I think it was, of content marketing. Someone in the industry gave me some really good advice: is don't try and sell eXp, do content marketing, talk about your stories and your journey and your hints and tips for selling more real estate and lead gen. And so that's what I did. I just bombarded LinkedIn, and fortunately, people started watching and getting in touch. And then I think the social proof of showing that it worked, people like Jane, who we've got coming on next in just a moment, she was obviously watching from the sidelines. She was seeing people like Scott Gunn being super successful and thinking, wow, if Scott can do it, I'm pretty sure I can do it as well. And then that leads to more agents and more agents and more agents. And so, yeah, and here we are. Yeah, number 1, number 2. We're kind of like jockeying for position at the moment, but there was a point. We'll be number 1 easily by Q1 next year, by a distance. We just keep growing, and everyone else is kind of staying static. So it's kind of mad to think that we've done that with no above the line marketing spend, all been done organically through the agents. And I've got to say, I know I'm going over time here, but I've got to say the agents have been amazing in the UK. They've kind of just picked it up and run with it. They kind of just trusted me to be the person that delivers, features for them and benefits, and just said, yeah, okay, Adam. And stuff I've changed that they don't like potentially, but they've gone, okay, we still trust you, Adam. We're still going to roll with this. And they pick up the baton on agent attraction, and they pick up the baton on lead generation to sell more properties and more real estate. And Jane is an absolute rock star. as you said earlier, for taking on things. She'll just suck it up and just go, yeah, Adam, I'm in. What do I do? Tell me what to do, kind of thing. And Jane epitomizes the agents that we've got in the UK. They're just fantastic. So
yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. And so you had this amazing experience opening up the UK almost 5 years now. Is that it? Right?
yeah, 5 years, yeah.
Almost 5 years now. And for me, I started out on the US side of things, and I was the director of growth in Florida, and I've worked with other companies where I attracted in different states as well. California, Texas. And I used to always make the joke, what works in California doesn't work in Florida. What doesn't work, what works in Florida is never going to work in California. And that's more of an American East Coast, West Coast thing. But what I've noticed now, obviously, in this international role and getting to be a part of all of the 22 countries we're in outside of US and Canada, and seeing how their business operates, hearing the stories from the agents. In the past month, we spent some time together in France. We spent some time together in Italy. We got to meet with agents there. There was a lot of the uniqueness of their market, 100%. Things like open listings, like you mentioned, open versus closed, all these different things that are very niche to the market. But one of the things that was really sat out to me and was really powerful to me was how the core of who we are and what we're trying to accomplish stays the same. And the principles that eXp brings to the table of, like, this is the real estate platform that's going to help you build the best business you possibly can, where the pros will go to grow. You've really taken that on, whether intentionally or not at the beginning, right? Maybe it was before we even had that slogan, but you really focused on finding agents who were already in production and then getting them to that next level and that next stage in their career. And now they've built out these different opportunities. So now that you're in this more international role, what does that look like for you, in terms of you're seeing what goes on in Poland, in Germany, in Italy, in France? What similarities, you mentioned some of the differences, but what similarities have you noticed from completely different cultures and sometimes different even business practices that make us all eXp?
I think everyone wants to be part of something. I think all humans want to be part of something bigger, part of a movement. And so I don't think that changes from real estate agent to real estate agent. And I think people, again, in general, humans want to feel empowered. And I think that's what eXp does brilliantly well, is it empowers agents to go out and build their own brand, their own business, their own future, their own exits, because of the way that we operate. I've never seen a brand like that does that. So that, and I think humans, I say, they across the world want to be empowered, and they want to feel part of something, and part of a movement of change. And it's that they're the similarities, no question. I don't think the money helps, right? The money matters, but how you make that money also helps. And I think that one thing that I've taken from the US, which I probably didn't have in my arsenal of weaponry 5 years ago, was wanting to help other people, because it's just not natural in the UK. And I think that's also not natural. I was in Italy last week. We did a mastermind session, and the agents were all saying, "Oh, we're at war here in Italy." I probably shouldn't use that terminology right now, but there's no collaboration. But I think that's there was never collaboration in the UK, but now all of a sudden, because of that, what we've learned from the US of wanting to help each other, and I've managed to cascade that around the agent network of how can we help you, how can we help you, how can we help you. I think that's kind of something I think everyone wants to be helped and wants to help others, but maybe they just don't know it yet, and that's something else we need to have as a commonality across Europe.
Yeah, Glenn said something when we were in Italy last week at the MLS forum. Glenn said something really powerful on stage. If you want more market share, you need to share. And that was something that kind of stuck with me. And I keep thinking about, if you pour into people and pour into whatever it is that you're good at, and you share that with others, you'll get that back, and people will collaborate back with you. And I've noticed that regardless of, again, not to pick on Samuel in France, but he says France is so special and all these things, but we're all humans, and we all just want to continue to get better over time, continue to hit our goals. So if we share our best practices, regardless of cultural differences, a lot of times you're going to find those people who are willing to share back and create a collaborative process. That's what eXp is about to me. Adam, I feel like I could have had you on the show for another 30 minutes. Unfortunately for you, I got to let you go. tell the people here where they can find you, whether it's about Italy, Poland, Germany, whatever the case may be, the UK, or if they just want to talk to you about what you call football, I call soccer, and unfortunately Adam Day here supports Tottenham Hotspurs. But if anyone out there also does, you can have a chat with him. Where can they find you?
Workplace is always the best place to go if you're with eXp. If you're not with eXp, then LinkedIn is always the best place to find me. I'm on LinkedIn, 7 or 8 times a day, scrolling through, encouraging people, helping people wherever I can, and posting a few bits and pieces as well. So LinkedIn for those of you not at eXp, and Workplace Chat for those of you who are with eXp.
Awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. I will see you at eXpCon, actually, next week here in Miami, Florida. See you soon.
Cheers. See ya.
All right. That was Adam Day, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute rock star. He's doing amazing things in Europe. I get the pleasure of working with him every day. I tease him for supporting Tottenham Hotspurs, but that is probably his biggest flaw. Apart from that, we have some amazing announcements today before we get into our conversation with our rockstar icon agent. So if we could get to our announcements here, we have eXpCon Miami starts next week on Saturday. And for the first time ever, we're going to bring all of our international market leaders to eXpCon. So if you want to meet Adam Day, but then also the Adam Days of all the countries that we're in outside of US and Canada, make sure to be at eXpCon. We're going to have an international hub at the Expo Hall, as well as on the 27th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, we are doing an international mastermind. Everyone is welcome, whether you're in the US, Canada. Come hang out with us, come meet us, see what we're up to, see what we're doing in international. And then I get asked, you guys can all guess what the number one question I get asked all the time as the head of growth for international. We have some amazing announcements that we're doing on the 28th at General Session, where I'm going to introduce all of our country leaders. And then we're going to get kind of into some really special announcements. So if you're going to be at eXpCon, I'm teasing it here, you definitely don't want to miss General Session on the 28th around noon. International Mastermind, like I said, 27th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. All of our leaders will be there. We also have amazing international speakers. So not just our country leaders, but our agents from all across the world are coming, where we have 4 international breakout paths at eXpCon. They'll be all there in the agenda, and they'll have the international tag on them. I see Armando Sacco in there, Vana Monroe, and Vana Monroe again, because not only do we have 4 international talk tracks, we have 4 Spanish talk tracks. And I wanted to throw this in here because we've got an amazing Latino community, and we're in a lot of countries outside in the Latin America region. So come check out our all Spanish talk tracks as well if you want to get involved with that community. And for the first time ever, we're bringing our International Agent Advisory Council to eXpCon. They'll actually be a part of our international hub as well at the Expo Hall. You guys will be able to meet them there. These are our agent leaders in the international sphere who continue to shape the way we move forward in our international industry. So come check out Shashank, Armando, Lizna, Lisa, and Grant. They will all be there, and I'm sure they'll be super happy to share with you what's going on in international. So last but not least, if you haven't already registered for eXpCon, here is your chance. We're 1 week away. Scan the QR code, October 27th through 30th in my hometown of Miami, Florida at the Miami Beach Expo Hall. Come check us out. It's going to be amazing. There's so many amazing things happening. You really don't want to miss it. Crazy announcements, leaders from across the world, trainings, everything you could wish for in our industry, getting to live, breathe eXp in person. That is your opportunity. So, okay, lots of announcements today. But most importantly, I'm super, super excited to bring onto the stage Jane Whitfield. So Jane is one of our amazing agents from the UK. She's out of Bath in England. I Googled where that was. It's really close to Bristol for anybody who wants to know. But Jane, come join us.
Hello, hi.
Hey, Jane, how are you?
I love that you had to Google Bath.
I had to Google Bath, yeah. The first couple of things that came up was not your hometown. It was
no.
But then I typed in UK, and here we are. Well, Jane, thank you so much for joining us here. You're the first agent to be a part of the Big Agent Meeting International. So this is my favorite part. Yes, I love bringing on our country leaders, the Adam Days, the Samuels. I think it's amazing for the agents to meet them. But really, why we're all here is to help the agents. So getting to speak with you guys and put you on a platform where everybody gets to hear your stories are super special for us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jane? Just tell us, I know I already gave away your secret that you're in Bath, but tell us a little bit about when you joined eXp, what that process was like 4 years ago when we were really not known at all in the UK. You sort of took a chance on us. What was that like?
It was 4 years ago when I joined eXp, almost to the day. And I had a bad experience with working as an employed agent, and I decided to leave that company, and I was going to set up on my own. I had it all planned. I had my logo sorted. I'd been planning it for about 4 or 5 months. And then Scott Gunn, who some of you may know, had emailed a friend of mine who knew that I was looking at it, who kind of like just cold emailed her to see if she was interested. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, this will be a load of rubbish. You know, what's this scam? What's going on? But I thought I've always learned in the years that always the thing that you don't think is going to be the right thing is always sometimes surprises you, and there's nothing to lose by finding out. So I reached out to Scott, had a conversation with him, had a conversation with Adam, turned them down about 4 times before I eventually was persuaded that actually this was a really good way forward. And what I loved about it,
you turned down Adam Day. I am sure that.
Times, yeah. Or 3, maybe 3. And he was good because he just kept going, no, when you're ready, whatever, you know, if it's right for you, if it's not right for you. But what I saw in it, for me, on a very blunt way, initially was just the cost effectiveness of doing it. To set up as an agent in the UK means you are losing £100,000 or so easily in your first year. There's no guarantee you're going to win. The cost of going on our portals is extortionate, on our Rightmove, Zoopla, that sort of thing. But for me, it was about wanting to start an agency that was more focused on the customer, which, having been in the business 35 years, I felt the UK has lost that. They've gone down the volume road. This 1% commission has forced them to take more and more properties, more and more clients on, and the service level had gone. So that was my focus initially.
Well, that's amazing. What I think a lot of people don't know actually is that in the UK, the model was more salary based and not commission based. They were employees of their estate agencies, as opposed to having the opportunity to build their own brand, build a business, build a legacy, and really work for themselves, as opposed to working for their estate agency. How much of a shock was it to you when you saw the opportunity to really build something that wasn't just a job, it wasn't just another 9-to-5 career, but an opportunity to build your own business, leveraging a platform like eXp that kind of puts you on the pedestal instead of keeping you and putting the traditional putting their brand first?
Well, it was nice because it kind of gave me the autonomy to do things the way I want to. Because being employed in the UK, you're very much controlled by the company, the brand leaders and everything else. And, sort of if you're part of the Connells group, for example, they have certain rules. And certainly my previous employer, who was a small one agency, so one branch agency, he didn't like any of my ideas, even though I probably turned this business around, but he didn't like any of my ideas going forward. And I just felt, for me, I could see the opportunity with the revenue share side as well. Being a slightly more mature person now, I'm kind of heading towards, well, this is my last hurrah. I get out there, I couldn't put a business together. I just wanted to create a really good, honest estate agents. We're working with integrity, looking after the clients, and the idea was to keep it small. And then 4 years later, I'm kind of here. But it was a bit like being given an estate agency in a box to allow you to start without the huge financial outlay. And my full intention was to leave after a year when I got going. But I'm still here and not going anywhere.
Now, not only have you gone on to build your own personal brand, right, and become an icon agent, which is what we all strive for as agents, but now you've gotten the opportunity to build your own team, right? So not only from working as maybe a salaried employee for a brokerage, but now building your own personal brand and sharing that opportunity with others and pouring into them and building a team and building a brand around that. What does that look like? When did you start your team? Where are you at now with them? And what has that process been like?
So the team opportunity was given to us in the UK about this time, about summer last year. As Adam said earlier, I'm one of those agents that goes, yeah, looks good. How do I do it? What do you do next? And that's been my kind of mentality with this, is just roll with it, just go with it, and just absorb information and just run with everything. It seems scary sometimes. So I set up last summer with a team. I had a couple of false starts with team members. And from the beginning of this year, really, I've gone from having one team member start in January. Now I've got 5, with another 2 on the horizon for the end of the year. And for this country, it's a really different concept. So getting them to go self-employed is the biggest step first. But if you can then go, come and be self-employed, but work within my brand, I'll look after you. I've got a team of staff behind me, will support you, will train you, will mentor you, has been a lot easier. And it's allowing me for the first time, actually, from Monday, I'm going on my first 2-week holiday, proper switch off holiday since I started, with Miami in the middle. So I am coming to the eXp Con. My husband will get 4 days, but he'll be fine. And yeah, we're building a holiday around that, but I know I can leave everybody behind here. So it's taken my growth of my business. It's meant I've achieved icon this year, which I have been trying to do for the last couple of years and kept missing it by like 3 or 4 transactions every time. And I was like, and this year we thought we had it in the bag quite early, but even then with the system in the UK, a property buyer or a seller can pull out right at the last minute. The day you're expecting the money to go through, they can still pull out. And a few of them did. And I was like, oh God, we're not going to make it. So I literally managed it this year. And I think this obviously this next year for me will be a lot easier, with the team members included.
Well, amazing. Congratulations on hitting icon and building your team. You mentioned the opportunity to go on vacation for a 2-week period and have a proper, turn off the phone, not pay attention, but your business is still working for you as opposed to you working for your business, right? You step away from the UK and you come to beautiful sunny Miami. I'm staring out the window right now. It's a gorgeous day. You guys are awesome time at eXpCon. I can't wait to meet you there in person. But you step away from your business and you've built something that will continue to generate for you and continue to grow even as you've stepped away. And one of the largest challenges in our industry, regardless of if you're in the UK, the US, Mexico, wherever you are in the world, was that estate agents, real estate agents, there was no retirement. The day you stopped selling homes, that was it. You were done. I make the joke all the time that I was so happy. My mom was an agent before me. I was so happy the day she retired because she had all these clients, and only like 5% of them ended up purchasing with me over time because they went on, their brother-in-law got their license, their cousin, their son, whatever it was. If you stop selling homes, you stop producing. And revenue share and the opportunity that eXp has brought internationally and across the world has created a business model that now actually gives you something where you can walk away from selling homes at some point in your career and still have income from all that work that you put in. So with that being said, Jane, what do you think is the future of eXp in the UK and real estate in the UK in general, as we've been the disruptor who has switched everybody's mind on should you be self-employed versus employed? Where do you see the industry in the UK 10 years from now? Will there be more self-employed agents than employed agents?
100%. I think we'll see, just the way that people are reaching out to me via LinkedIn now, the speed that people are taking it on board now, they seem to understand it. They trust our brand a little bit more now. They understand that eXp is something that's actually making an impression. And for the agents, if you think that most employed agents are earning in pounds less than £35,000 a year, yet they can earn 100,000 plus or so just being self-employed and doing a similar level of work for themselves, is getting that message across. But I think in 10 years' time, absolutely, I think we'll probably find, if not more, 50% self-employed in 10 years. I think it's a big shift for the UK, massive shift, and I think it'll be for the best. It'll be the right thing, that's why I'm so excited. I've been in the business for such a long time, and I really wanted it to shift back to that customer-focused kind of way of doing things. And with the UK going self-employed more and more, that the higher fees, the better customer focus, everything like that, the service levels are just going to improve massively, and it will do us the world of good. Because normally we don't like to admit we're estate agents in the UK. People, we're up there with the tax man.
That's a pretty common theme all around the world, Jane, to be honest.
Okay. It's not just us.
You were really early into eXp to UK. Actually, one of the things I hear all the time in the US is like, oh, I wish, and I say this all the time, I was like, oh, I wish I would have joined eXp earlier, right before they grew, because there's all these opportunities and all these things. You got to join really early, and I'm sure what you'll start hearing now that you're 5 years in is that agents will go, oh, I wish I would have joined 4 or 5 years ago when you guys were first starting out and taking advantage of the growth. And what you'll start seeing, which I think you already have actually in the UK, is competitors coming into the market saying, oh my God, eXp crushed it. They completely did what nobody thought was possible. And so now we're gonna, it's an opportunity for them to build something similar. We've seen that in the US time and time again. What people really don't realize is that if it's today or even if you join 2 years from now, it's all relative. You'll be early the day you join. eXp will be here 20, 30, 40 years from now. And 40 years from now, there will be some young realtor joining the business. We'll go, oh, I wish I joined eXp 15, 20 years ago because I could get that growth. And I think that's part of the fear that we get in our heads when we have to take such a leap of faith of switching our business somewhere else. And in the US, it's such an emotional process of switching your business to another brokerage. In the UK, it seems like it could be even more of a fearful moment, of a scary leap of faith, because you're not just taking a chance on eXp, you're taking a chance really on yourself for the most part, because you have to now build your own business. You have to hold yourself accountable. So I don't know why I went into that little spiel. I guess it's because I hear all the time agents telling me they wish they got in early, and the UK is on that path of just
we've not even started in the UK yet, really.
No.
I mean, we have, but, it's so yeah, a lot of the guys that work with me now, I've got a young chap who's 20, and he's one of my partner agents. He's amazing, absolutely amazing. And his eyes are getting bigger and bigger every day when he realizes what he's just joined. And he will be at the eXp Con next year, I guarantee it. He's already decided, just tell me when, Jane, and I'm coming. He's absolutely amazed. It's just such a mind shift in the UK.
Yeah.
For agents to understand what there is on offer and that it is feasible. And yes, they've got to be able to fund themselves for a few months before the money starts coming in. But if they can get over that barrier, it's such an exciting time.
Yeah. Well, Jane, I want to say I'm so grateful that you were able to join us here today. I love hearing our agent stories. I love seeing the differences between the stories from different cultures, because everybody's different and everyone has their own unique stories. But I also love hearing the similarities between all of our success stories as well, because that's what makes us not just eXp, but also human. So I appreciate you joining us today. I am so excited to see you in Miami, where hopefully we'll get some better weather than Bath, UK, and you enjoy the sun quite a bit. So enjoy that holiday. You've earned it. Where can the folks listening to this hear about you? Where can they find you? Where can they check out your team, check out your agents?
So similar to Adam, really, if you're with eXp, then eXp Workplace, of course, but I'm also on LinkedIn. But my Facebook page is quite widely followed. That gives you really good idea, because I'm always launching agents on there and properties and information and advice and talking about the opportunity. But the opportunity side's more on LinkedIn, the business side's more on Facebook. But Facebook is the reason why my growth went through the roof. So that's the place to look.
Well, there you go. Jane, thank you so much, and I will see you next week.
Yeah, look forward to it. Okay, see you. Thank you. Bye.
I love that. I love hearing our stories from our agents. I think it's so impactful and so powerful. If you love that, then continue to check out the show, but also make sure that you go to eXpCon next week, because you're going to get to be around thousands and thousands of agents. Okay, well, what I want to say is that we have our Big Agent Meeting International every 2 weeks, every other Thursday. 2 weeks from now, on October 31st, we're going to have a really special show. We're bringing in people all the way from South Africa, and it's a Halloween show. So it'll be a very, very exciting show to be at. We'll get to learn so much. Please, 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 if you can, take out your phones right now and scan this QR code, complete the survey for our Big Agent Meeting International. It's really important that we hear your feedback and we continue to improve over time. This was only our second show, but we will continue to get better. Thank you guys for joining the International Big Agent Meeting. This is the only place to go to find out exactly what's going on from country leaders and agents. Actually, it's not the only place to go to. I don't know why I said that. We have a million places to go to, but I'd like to think this is one of the best places because I get to be the host of this. I appreciate everybody who joined. Please drop your feedback. Reach out to me on Workplace Chat. Come visit us in our international HQ, and I'll see you all at eXpCon October 27th. Talk soon. Thanks, everyone.